It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and welcome to another episode of Plugged In from YAA Electric. Justice, I literally saw two turkeys fly across the road down the street from my house. Not making that up. Seriously. It was wonderful. I wanted to catch them and cook them tomorrow, but I did not. How's your day going?
Hey, it's going well. It's been pouring all morning, but
Oh.
pouring sunshine, that is.
Oh, geez. Well, it's only like 35 degrees here, which isn't too bad for late November where I live. So
Oh.
yeah, it's a good day. It's a hiking weather. But yeah, so today's headline, we're going to be talking all about Mazda. I'll try not to get too sucked into the rabbit hole of the Mazda MX-30 and how much I dislike it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. But we're going to try to get some more positive Mazda news. Now, this is a new announcement just this week that they're investing $11 billion to try to catch up to the rest of the industry that is going electric. Um, Justice, remind me, I think you said that you had seen or sat in a Mazda MX-30?
Yep, I've been in one, sat in
Okay.
one. Was
Did it
not my
feel
favorite of the EVs.
well, specs aside, just pretend the specs are wonderful. Did it feel like a Mazda? Like I've been in like the CX-30 and Mazda 3 and stuff like that. Was it just thrown
It
together, jalopied together?
yeah, it felt very. I love Mazda, so I'm not coming out of a negative Mazda way. I recommend
Mm,
Mazda all day long, right behind Subaru. But it felt so cheap and plasticky to me.
hmm.
It just didn't hit the regular Mazda feel to me. It really did feel like a compliance car. Like, okay, I guess we have to do this kind of thing. And they didn't seem to put a lot of care, from my point of view, into it.
Yeah. Well, I think literally everyone in EV world would agree with you. We'll get into the MX-30 here in a minute, but I'm actually going to try something different, at least from the way I tend to handle things on this show. I'm going to start with something positive instead of something that is just terrifying, like the MX-30. So, Mazda announced that they're investing 1.5 trillion yen or $10.6 billion into electrification through the year 2030. That's pretty quick considering Mazda's done basically nothing to electrify its lineup up to this point. They say the plan could include EV production here in the United States, obviously for those fancy schmancy tax credits, as early as 2026. Now, Mazda does already have a battery partner for this new plan. It's Envision AESC. So, Envision. It's a Tokyo based battery maker that also works with Nissan. It looks like they're finally taking EVs serious. I wonder what could have nudged them in that direction. Could it be the market share numbers? Could it be the fact that the European Union is saying all EVs by, I don't know, 2035? I forget the year. It's
It's
probably a combination of
2035. Yeah,
probably a
it's the same
combination
as
of
same as
factors.
the US. Yeah.
Same as
When
California.
yeah, sorry.
Nah, the
When
US,
all of your
California.
major when all of your major countries and states and everything start saying EV only, I think you have to start changing your strategy.
Yeah, I would say. This is a huge shift from what Mazda had been saying just 6 months prior. Now, Mazda expects electric vehicles to comprise between 25% to 40% of its global sales in just 7 years' time. 25 to 40% up from relatively zero right now. I'm sure if you did the numbers, it'd be like 0.2%, something like that. But that is exciting because I also like Mazda's internal combustion powered vehicles. I think they're great, especially for families. And it looks like they're going to be bringing more traditional hybrids to market quicker. Now, that might be something that a lot of our YAA members are interested in. We've got a lot of Mazda fans out there. But Justice, does this surprise you? It does not surprise me, but I bet you got a hot take, don't you?
No, yeah, this doesn't surprise me. This is the way everyone has to go. The only one who surprises me right now, right, is still Toyota, right?
Yeah.
But even they're considering making the move. So I'm glad to see Mazda making this move in this direction now. Nice to see them put the writing on the wall, and I hope that we get um, Mazda quality EV Mazdas out of them here.
Yeah, and Toyota has made significantly more announcements regarding EVs, but their plans are always like 2027, 2030. They're not like near-term plans. And I mean, another thing that Toyota has going for them is that they haven't hidden the fact that they've got basically battery dark projects going on where they're trying to get solid state batteries into EVs quicker. They've got like secret projects going on that could become game changers in as little as 3 or 4 years, whereas Mazda has been pretty silent about their EV ambitions until now. So I think this is really good news. It looks like Mazda will be producing a hybrid version of the CX-50 crossover at the assembly plant in Alabama as soon as next year, I believe, probably later next year. And that plant in Alabama is jointly run with Toyota. Now, I did not know that Mazda had a U.S. partnership with Toyota, but there it is. That's pretty cool.
I didn't know that either, but partnerships are the word of the day right now, as
Yeah.
everyone's making these transitions.
Yeah, who will be the first to really go into a partnership with Tesla? We kind of touched on this the other day, Justice, and it was such an exciting topic. We didn't really have time to get into it deeper, but I said I thought maybe Honda might be the first because they're launching their e-architecture system so late. That's their first like proprietary electric vehicle powertrain e-architecture. They're launching that in like 2026. That's what, like 5 years after everyone else. So I was saying maybe that's enough time for Tesla to partner with them, but what if Tesla plus Mazda ended up being a thing? I'm just speculating. Do you think there's any chance of that at all?
I mean, I think it's less. My opinion. I think it's going to be Toyota.
Oh yeah,
Um, that the CEO of Toyota and Elon Musk's are BFFs. So I think that's where the partnership is going to go. But you never know. I mean, God, Elon said yesterday. I see now. I got to look this up. Elon said somebody yesterday was going to be, or so I know he said South Korea was the number one place to be investing for EVs in the future, but he mentioned a company too.
mm,
But why would Tesla partner with anyone? Well, Elon has talked about partnering for a long time with all kinds of people. So
yeah, yeah. And as the industry diversifies as far as electric vehicle offerings, I'd imagine Tesla would be willing to find ways to keep such a strong foothold because they dominate the EV industry right now. But as all the legacy automakers go electric, I bet Tesla's going to get more creative about ways that they can stay the big name in EVs, whether that's having the Tesla supercharging network becoming like the BP or Chevron or I don't know what other major gas station networks there are, but everyone goes to a Tesla supercharger even if you don't own a Tesla. Things like that. Recently we saw that Tesla made public their engineering design for the charging cable. Is that what you would call it,
yeah,
Justin?
yeah,
And
they had some very interesting specs they threw out with that charging cable.
yeah, I think you mentioned something about 1 megawatt. Was that with the charging
Yep.
cable or?
Yeah. So they're the V3s are going to be capable of 1 megawatt charging.
Okay, so for comparison, the liquid cooled V2 chargers, sorry, isn't the ones that we have today they're V3? So you're talking about V4?
Maybe. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
V4.
So today's V3 Tesla charging cables and Electrify America's 350 kilowatt cables, you're not going to see them going higher than 350 kilowatts because the capabilities of their liquid cooled technology, it's not going to be able to handle 3 times that. But Justice shared with me that Tesla says their V4 Tesla charging cable could handle 1 megawatt output. That is a lot of power. Why would you want to do that? My opinion, Tesla Semi. If you want to have
Hmm.
that same charging cable used at future stations built specifically for heavy hauling Tesla semis, you're going to want 1 megawatt outputs because otherwise it's going to take an hour or two to charge. But if you can get that power output way higher, it might be good enough for a roadside rest stop. I don't know.
Yeah. I know they're doing the 1 megawatt right now for the semi, But in when Elon released the plans for the cable for the future, they mentioned the 1 megawatt ability for to make them future proof. So if
Mm.
people wanted to switch over to the cable, they wouldn't be worried that it wouldn't be viable for very long. Because as we all know, the the technology is changing month by month. So
Oh, very, very interesting. But yeah, let's get back to Mazda because there's a few other little details that I think we should share with everyone. Um, Mazda also teased a new sports car design that is reminiscent of the RX-7 or RX-8. It's not clear if this would be electric, but I'm betting it would be. They call it the Vision Study model. I'm gonna try to pull a picture up real quick. Um, I think it's cool. Wasn't the Mazda RX-8 the last rotary engine? I believe it's got
I
one.
that I don't know.
Pretty sure it is, and yeah. So that's an interesting concept model right there. I don't know if we'll ever see it, but hey, Mazda might get pretty desperate to have some awesome exterior design cues if they're the last one to catch up with the industry later this decade. I mean, think about what Hyundai did and Kia. They went from having like the Kona Electric, the e-Niro, which look very bland. They look like washing machines on wheels. Sorry, don't mean to offend anyone. Um, and then they just like come out with the Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6 with radical design. Mazda, I think they could really do that. That might be a way of making up for their delay, but I guess I'm only hoping at this point. Today, if you're interested in a Mazda EV, what you can buy is the MX-30. And Justice, you gotta help me not go too far down the rabbit hole here because of how how frustrated I get when I talk about the Mazda MX-30. But I think this particular test from Motor Trend is very, very interesting. Um, it's not new; it's like maybe 6 months old. But Motor Trend took the MX-30 electric vehicle around town, and it was just a mess. So the EPA has certified Mazda's only EV for 100 miles on a charge. I don't recommend you buy that really for any use case scenario. Even if you just drive around town, let's say you do ride sharing, sure. But what about the resale value 3 years down the road? It's going
Yeah.
to be crap because 100 miles of range won't get you outside of the LA area, right? But I did not know that their DC fast charging test was so horrible. So, Justice, I'm going to try to limit it to this for today's MX-30 rant. It's rated for 50 megawatt DC charging at a DC fast charger. They maxed it out at 35 kilowatts. So, 35 kilowatts is not very good. Might as well go with like a Chevy Bolt, even a Nissan Leaf. You get way more range, slightly faster charging for the same price. Uh, yep. But
So the MX-30 or the BZ4X,
I would go
which do
for the
you prefer?
BZ4X. Well, you're talking about the price too, right?
Yeah. Oh, just overall.
I'd go for whatever the cheapest BZ4X is. I mean, I would take, let's say, 190 miles, 200 miles of real world range in a BZ4X any day over maybe 100 miles in this Mazda. Um, and the BZ4X does charge quicker than 35 kilowatts. It's not much quicker, but it's quicker. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Not. It's got better range at least. I mean,
Yep. So, what other news do we have to look into today, Justice?
well, we got. Let's see. We got Faraday saying they don't know if they'll be able to deliver all their orders. Actually, they don't know if they're going to survive a year, uh, another year as a company at all, let alone uh, fulfilling all their 399 orders.
All right. So, which link is this that you sent me? I want to pull it up. Let's see.
It's Faraday,
Yeah,
Faraday
Faraday
Futures.
Future. Okay, okay. Oh, I don't really care much for a $300,000 plus EV, but I would go for this Faraday Future over the Cadillac. What's it called?
The Celestique.
A Celestique. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go for the
Well,
Faraday Future.
Mario and I were in the back of this thing at the LA Auto Show last year. This is definitely a more of a limo EV thing. You're meant to be in the back of it, not driving it, which
Fine
is
with me.
part of the cost of it. It was very, very nice. I don't know that 300,000 nice, but it
Mhm.
was very, very nice. But now they seem to not even be able to hit 399 vehicles. So ouch.
Yeah, that is not a lot. That does not make any of this worth it. Now, I wonder who they've contracted out to build it because it's clearly not going to be them, right? It has to be like Foxconn or Magna, probably Magna. I wonder. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who's building it. If anybody's going to build it at this point, as they're saying they might go belly up in the next year.
Yep. It says since Faraday was founded, the company has incurred total losses from operations, negative cash flows from operating activities, aka paying people and engineering things, that has accumulated deficit of $3.3 billion. I would be really sad if I designed, engineered, brought to auto shows this fancy FF91 from Faraday Future, and not to mention had $3.3 billion in debt to only have 390 something orders. I think I know what the problem is, Justice. You know what it is?
What's that?
It's the fact that it's gonna cost like
Yeah,
$300,000. That's the problem.
I know. I'm sorry. I guess 30 people canceled, so they're now have 369 pre-orders, down from 399.
Now, whenever you sent this to me earlier, I had a bit of a realization, like a first impression with the design of the FF91, which I'm not even qualified to really speculate on $300,000 cars, not in my price range. But here's what I thought. That's a lot of money. It looks cool, but in my opinion, my not so humble opinion, I don't think it looks like it's worth $300,000 on the exterior. I know you said the interior is like Rolls Royce style.
Yeah, it's
I
all
don't
about
really
the interior on this vehicle. It's definitely not that exterior.
I don't know how you make the exterior of an SUV crossover shaped vehicle look like it's worth the value of a home, but to me that's not it. So
Yeah,
that
this is
might be
one.
something to
This
do
one
with it.
had like a 21-inch screen you could do your work and gaming on, massaging, reclining seats, the whole thing. It was very nice in the back, but still I don't even understand really the market for that. 300,000, like where are they? I don't know who their target audience is.
Me either. Now, I didn't get a chance to check out the Fisker article you sent me, but it looks like good news. So how about we pivot to
Yeah.
some good news from Fisker? Can you maybe walk us through what you saw?
Yeah, Fisker says that they need to boost EVs because they have much more demand than they expected, which I think is an interesting. Or let's build a vehicle. Probably no one will want it, but let's build it anyway. Oh well, we're surprised how many people want it. Come on, isn't that what? I feel like they set their expectation a little bit low there, but great.
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with under promising and over delivering, right,
Yeah,
Elon?
so long as they can deliver. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, so they want to. I guess they're delaying the pair a little bit so they can do this, but I don't fully understand that because isn't the pair being built by Foxconn and this is not?
Yeah. This is being built by Magna in Austria. It's
Yeah,
in Europe. Until Magna completes construction of a US or North American based EV production facility, Magna has said that they will do that. So eventually, the Fisker Ocean will qualify for the revised EV tax credits, but not right now. And you mentioned the Fisker Pear. That is some kind of compact sedan meant for urban centers, correct?
yeah,
Yeah, a lot to keep
yeah.
up with here.
So Fisker, it says they in Q1 of 2023 they expected to hit 300 vehicles in sales. In Q2 they have 8,000 vehicles pre-sold.
8,000 is a
So
lot.
So that's that's a huge increase from 300 to 8,000 and a quarter. So you can see where they expect Q4 to hit 42,400 for 2023.
Wow.
That's a lot when you started off with 300.
Yeah, that is a lot. I wanted to share with our listeners and viewers something that makes Fisker's Ocean unique. It's not going to be from day one, but in the near future. If you don't want to buy a Fisker Ocean, Fisker says you can lease it with their very innovative Flexi lease. This comes down when it comes down to it, it's just a long-term rental, but that's kind of a good thing if you ask me. For starting at $379 a month, at least in 2022 dollars, we'll see what it is by the time this actually gets launched. You could lease a Fisker Ocean SUV, basically month to month. There are no term limits. You can cancel at any time. They say it's worry-free. And after 12 years of leased driving, Fisker will retire and recycle the battery and all components of the SUV. 12 years is a long time, but it's kind of cool. Hope it actually happens. The Fisker Flexi lease requires an initial down payment of $3,000 and it includes 30,000 miles a year. That's a lot of miles. I mean, a lot of leases we see are like what, 10, 20,000 miles? Remind me, what are common lease terms, Justice?
It's 36 months between 12,000 and 15,000 miles. Generally speaking, luxury vehicles are usually around 10,000 miles.
But that mileage limit is per year or
Yeah,
per?
annually. Sorry,
Okay.
annually. Yeah.
All right. So 30,000 is pretty cool. Maintenance is covered. So this sounds like a great deal if Fisker can get to rolling this out. But I'm imagining with all of these pre-orders, you said what, 8,000?
Yeah.
That they're,
8,000 in Q2.
but that's pretty soon though. Like
Yeah.
that's what they're going to be trying to
That's
fulfill in Q2.
yeah, that's what we're going to try to fulfill. I mean, which is what this article is about, them saying they're going to have to ramp up to be able to meet that demand. And as we talk about raw materials every week, I have my questions of whether they'll be able to meet that demand or not.
Yeah, me too. I wonder how Magna goes about securing its materials, its batteries and whatnot. I don't even know who's building the battery, who's supplying the battery pack for the Fisker Ocean. Not quite sure.
I do not know either.
We'll look into that here in a bit. But we had a question in the chat earlier about the new EV tax credit. So I'm going to go ahead and share in the chat the YAA resource for that because Justice, you and I, we had probably 10 shows about the revised EV tax credit. As the new year approaches, I agree that we're going to probably have some more shows about that for our viewers who might be joining us interested in that topic. But for now, here's our resource. Dropped it into the live chat. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Justice, out of the awesome news stories you shared with me, which other one might be worth bringing up today, in your opinion?
I like the Domino's story.
The Domino story. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
ordering
I think
Chevy
so.
Bolts, right?
Yeah, 800 Chevy Bolts for its delivery fee. Maybe that's because I did 30 years in food service and 16 of them were in pizza. Um, and I like this idea. I think it's fantastic. To me, it's a beautiful marriage of function and need. Uh, the Chevy Bolt as a delivery vehicle makes a lot of sense. Companies buying it, you can get drivers out there on the road, quick, easy. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect use case for the Chevy Bolt. Domino's delivery fleets are not needing to travel cross country, so the Chevy Bolt's really only weakness, which is slow charging times, is not going to be an issue for this use case. It has plenty of range, like roughly 240 miles of range, give or take 5 miles. There's plenty of range. It's got quite a bit of interior space. That's one thing that always surprises me when you sit in a Chevy Bolt, especially the EUV. I've never driven one, but I've sat in one, and It's more spacious than it looks on the outside, and a lot of that is because of the flexibility of an electric skateboard design that kind of gives the engineers more flexibility as to how the interior cabin is laid out. So I'm a fan of this too, Justice. I wonder what markets they're going to bring this to.
I'm sure it's California to begin with, but I know someone just in the chat talked. Joey Cactus asked about the Michigan winters, but with the range of this, yes, it'll lower the range, but on a delivery vehicle, that's still fine. Even if it cut the range in half, and it won't be that much, it's still a perfect vehicle, even in those cold winter climates, uh, for this purpose. So
Yeah.
that's not something you have to worry about too much when you would if you were in, say, a vehicle with 100-mile range. But in this one, even cutting it down with winter, I think it's perfectly uh, suited for the job.
Yeah, on this great article here on electric, it says the Chevy Bolt has 259 miles of range. That's impressive, but it does not mention what markets it's going to be in. So I'm guessing, like you said, Justice, it's going to be the big cities, probably on the West Coast and maybe up in the Northeast. This is exciting because when it comes to emissions and simply fuel savings, the money factor here, sitting in traffic is where you're going to be burning lots of fuel. And one thing I love about my EV is whenever I do end up in traffic, it's not often. I'm not burning gas while I'm sitting there in traffic. And for a delivery driver, that's pretty cool too. Um, yeah, this is good news. See, we're in. What's up?
Okay, so I clicked on the link in the article, which takes you to Domino's, which is actually telling you where the EVs are. You can click on each state and
Oh,
it'll tell you. So already on the road is 112 EVs, 855 projected by the end of 2023. So of the 112 EVs already on the road, I clicked on California and it's 0 on the road right now with 105 by the end of 2023. So I'm just trying to click on the states to figure out where the 112 already are.
this is an amazing website. Wow, they have set
Yeah.
up. I'm gonna share it with everyone because this is impressive. Thank you for pulling that up, Justice. Yeah, Domino's has set up its own fancy schmancy EV fleet website. Check this out. It's good for pizza delivery. Better for
12
the
of them are in Michigan,
okay.
none in California, but 12 in Michigan, 11 in Ohio, 43 in Indiana. Okay.
11 in
So,
Ohio. Yeah, you just said that.
yeah. 2 in Illinois. So it looks like they're starting in Indiana and branching out from there,
yeah,
which I assume is where they're from. 1 in Kentucky.
not in New York. 2 on the road, 4 by the end of next year. That's not a lot. Wow, 35 coming to North Carolina with 5 already on the road. That's exciting. Wow.
3 in Minnesota. So they're starting 4 in Iowa. They're starting in the cold places. 9 in Missouri. So interesting. They're starting in those cold places. I was
Yeah,
very shocked to see 0 in California and 0 in Florida.
me
So
too. And another state that's known for EVs is Colorado. Just 12 coming to Colorado, but considering there are only 2 or 3 major metro areas in
yeah.
Colorado to begin with, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that's fascinating. I wonder if their pizza competitors will follow suit. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just fascinated at how much effort they put into
Yeah.
marketing this EV fleet thing. This is a
And
lot of work.
what a great little website. I mean, it's very interactive. It's good design. I like that.
Yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up with this. If you would like a 2023 Chevy Bolt EV, Domino's says that you can enter their sweepstakes to get a chance to win a brand new Chevy Bolt EV. I wonder if it's going to be wrapped in the Domino's design like you've got up here. I don't know, but this is pretty cool. They're giving away a Chevy Bolt. That is exciting. It says no purchase necessary, so you don't even have to like their pizza.
So we won't get into it fully, but there is a YouTuber who bought a former Domino's delivery vehicle that was wrapped. And you can watch a 4-year saga of a lawsuit with Domino's and him because they left it wrapped when they sold it to him. So I'm guessing that the one you win will not be wrapped in Domino's because Domino's apparently really hates that.
That is interesting. Had no
Yeah,
idea.
it's a very, very long story, but it's very interesting.
Wow, sounds like a rabbit hole worth going down. Fascinating. But everyone, have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. And thank you so much for joining us this week. We're not going to be here on Friday. We're going to be enjoying some chill time, right, Justice? But we'll be back next week. So please feel free to join us on the YAA Community Forum. We're still running a promotion, a Black Friday promotion, where you can get 20% off a YAA Plus membership, which is not just good for car buying, it's also full of discounts for vehicle ownership. That's where I think the real value lies. It literally pays for itself when you factor in the vehicle maintenance discounts, insurance, et cetera, et cetera. And we also got $100 off a YAA extended warranty just from now through the end of November. So check that out if you're interested. Thank you so much, Justice, and have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful day.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a good day.